Hello everyone, I'm Brazen Eagle, and thank you for joining me here. So, we have an article from the Daily Mail. How MeToo has ruined dating. Expert who runs 4,500-pound boot camps for men claims they become dull, nice guys who repel women because they're too scared of looking creepy. So, Kezia Noble, 38 from Chelsea, says men now feel pushed into online dating. Appeared on Celebs Go Dating in 2018 and coaches men on how to meet women. Slams online dating, claiming people lie on pics and it only works for hot people. I probably would have used the word attractive, but whatever. Adds women are fed up of woke men and prefer meeting partners organically. And provides tips for men on how to approach women in real life and engage in chat. So, a dating expert has claimed the hashtag or #MeToo movement has made men across the world scared to approach women on the street for fear they'll come across as creepy or be accused of harassment. Kezia Noble, 38 from Chelsea, southwest London, an author who appeared as a coach on Celebs Go Dating in 2018, said many blokes have adopted dull, nice guy filters that actually repel women rather than attract them. The divorced mother of one, whose YouTube videos offering dating advice, have received 75 million views, said while the empowering movement has served a very good purpose, she is concerned about its trickle effect, which has made men feel that they can't talk to or interact with women in real life. Kenzie added that most women she speaks to say they are fed up with woke men being too nice and bumbling and want a guy to take the bull by the horns and ask them out. And I guess this is a picture of her, 38, from southwest London. She looks plastic. Pretty darn plastic. Almost like a Barbie doll. She told female, the #MeToo movement served a good purpose. Harvey Weinstein has just been convicted, and according to this person, quite rightfully so, there are men in power who abuse it, and this is something that I think most people would say should be clamped down on. Well, probably women do the same thing too. My problem, though, is the trickle effect #MeToo has had, where it's affecting normal guys approaching women in a bar or in the street. It's being perpetuated like, you've got to be super, super respectful to women, you can't invade her space, you can't talk to her, you can't approach her, and then it's kind of like, well, what's left? Kezia went on to say that it's caused men to water down their masculine traits and take on a nice guy persona. I know when I talk to guys now, they approach me. I think, oh God, this is like some weird filter you've got on because you're scared of #MeToo or something, she said. It's a bit dull. It's watering the guy's traits down, his character, his boldness to make him this nice, inoffensive, bland, forgettable, nice guy. I wonder why. She argued that men can be alpha males without being a bastard to women, adding, treating them mean to keep them keen doesn't mean be abusive, it just means don't be so readily available. Show me that you have other options, things like that. It's just game strategy, which women play on men and men play on women. I just feel like that's getting a bit lost. Well, she assumes that men and women share the exact same opportunities. Kezia operates in the UK and also has a team in the US and runs weekend workshops costing £487 and a week-long mastery program for £4,500. Holy cow! As well as offering online training programs and ebooks to help men meet women. I think meeting women isn't a problem. I could go out to the street right now and probably find a woman. It isn't meeting women that's the problem. She claims the #MeToo fear has pushed men towards dating apps, which doesn't make sense, which she argues doesn't work because people are judged purely on how they look in a picture, and often those photos are heavily edited and filtered. She also added that it's meant many people now lack engaging conversation and flirting skills because they're so used to communicating via text messages. We're not talking to people one-on-one in real life, so our social skills are not in good shape, she argued. A lot of women say this guy was so witty in his text messages, but when I saw him, he was a social freak. Oh, not even a weirdo, just a social freak. And it was really awkward. This is part of the reason she urges singletons to ditch dating apps, something she has never used herself. I know that with all my ex-boyfriends, if I'd seen them on a dating app, I would never have swiped right, she said. It's not just about looks, and this is a terrible thing. The only people that are really doing well from dating apps are good-looking people. You're just looking for your type of person. You're not going to look at someone and go, oh, maybe. I don't know. It's not just about looks. When you meet people in real life, you see them in the bar interacting with other people. You think, oh, there's something about that person. The way they move, their eye contact. I had this experience a couple years ago. Immediately I was like, no thank you, and then I got to talking to him, and I was like, oh gosh, wow. I called him the Thunderbolt because I was like, where did that come from? One of the skills Kezia teaches is conversational clickbait, using tailored talking points that will hook people in and make them more curious and invested in the interaction. I always say to my guys, work massively on conversation, because when you know that you can go and have an engaging conversation with anybody and not be sitting there going, oh, I hope we have something in common, what happens is that you can connect, you relax, your anxiety relaxes, and you're able to vibe, she said. I always say, think about what your 3 best selling points are. Think about what you've got going for you and bring that to the forefront of a conversation. A lot of guys will say, she has to get to know me, but no, she doesn't. It's not that simple. She doesn't really care. You have to market yourself very quickly, listen, and don't come out with the same crud or crap everyone does. If she says, I'm from Spain, rather than going, what part? How long have you been here for? Replace that generic with something like, I've never been there, tell me 2 things that make it an incredible place to visit. It's minor conversation alterations that can make a huge difference. When people say, just be your confident, best self, that doesn't translate, it's too vague. Kezia, whose clients vary in age from their 20s to their 50s and hail from all walks of life, said most men she coaches say they receive better responses from women on the street or in a cafe or bar now than what they did 5 years ago. Hold on. Before we move on, well, of course, if you're going to do anything long enough, you're eventually going to get at least a little bit of skill and experience for doing it. For 5 years, if you're doing the same thing for 5 years, you've got to get some new experience by doing that. Like, you become better over time. Anyways, women are saying, this is so nice to have a conversation with someone is approaching me. She loves attention, rather than just having conversation on dating apps, she explained. I don't hear women complaining about men approaching them. If she's single and you're going there and having an authentic conversation with her, I think most women are going to be quite engaged with that. And I guess, is this another photo of her? Kezia, this is another photo. She looks plastic. She really looks plastic. I get it. She's 38. She's getting old. She almost looks like a Barbie doll. Anyways, Kezia pointed out that dating apps are not necessarily a safe place to meet men because you can't get a good impression of someone's vibe. That works the other way around as well. I know when I go meet a guy, I trust my instincts. I know when someone's a bit off. I can't explain it. It's an eye contact thing, she said. I think it can be quite dangerous to meet someone you don't know. It creates a very easy hookup culture and people get ghosted all the time. If you meet someone in real life and you go on a date, you're more likely to invest in it a bit more. And if you want to go to her work, I don't recommend it. But this page is in the description below. So, well, I guess there's a dating coach who charges way too much to give men pointers and tips on how to talk to women. So, really there are 3 main points that I draw out from this article. The first is that guys are doing exactly what they are told and are becoming, according to Kezia, at least at face value, nice guys. They are becoming the super nice, respectful guys. There's no bad words, there's no unfriendly behavior, and no actions that could or would upset a female. This is exactly what they wanted. This is what females wanted, especially with the MeToo movement. Yet, women, they're complaining that their desired result is not what they wanted. Their actions have led to guys avoiding them. It's too much of a liability to even be around a female if you are a guy. My example, bring this article from 2018, a cautionary tale. Girls admit to falsely accusing a boy they disliked. All victims have the right to be heard. They do not have the right to be unquestioningly believed. The reasons should be obvious. An accusation is not necessarily the truth, and an alleged victim is not necessarily a victim. So this happened about 30 miles north of Pittsburgh, and the damage has already been done in 2018, October 15th. A teenage boy in the Seneca Valley School District was falsely accused of sexually assaulting 2 female classmates. He was tormented at school for his victimizing ways. He was criminally charged. He was taken from his classroom in shackles. He was placed in juvenile jail. And it turned out he was the victim. Now we can talk about a little bit about the lawsuit, but more importantly, why did they do this? By the end of the last school year, the conspiracy had unraveled as the girls admitted their lies. Why? As one girl was quoted, according to the lawsuit, I just don't like him. I just don't like to hear him talk. I don't like to look at him. Charges were withdrawn. The criminal record will be expunged, but the damage cannot be done. a high school boy, just a high school kid. He was falsely accused of sexually assaulting 2 female classmates. If you read in the article, there's actually a group of 5 girls who planned this out. He was jailed, and his reputation was ruined because some females literally didn't like this guy. As far as we know, he did nothing wrong. But he was still accused, and his life, at least for that good chunk of time, was ruined. Don't tell me, or don't tell any men that they cannot be falsely accused of actions they cannot or have not committed. Now, another point up brought by this article that, I kind of gleaned from is that supposedly the MeToo movement has pushed guys to use online dating apps. Now, I don't use online dating apps. I've never used them. But this doesn't seem to make too much sense at all. Like, sure, online dating apps have become more popular because of technology, but it doesn't make sense as to why the MeToo movement would push men there. If men are trying to avoid women and, put on a filter, a nice guy filter, why would they pursue them online? Kezia isn't wrong when she states that many people lack engaging conversation and flirting skills, of course partially because of social media and the ease of the use of technology, but what are you going to do about it when men generally don't even want to be around women in fear of potential risky consequences? And the third point I want to bring out from this article is that it sounds like guys have to do all the work to attract females. Guys need to know what to say, when to speak, and of course how to market themselves to attract the opposite sex. I'm not saying that this isn't necessarily a bad thing or wrong thing, but this isn't the days of old. This isn't the 1950s. A good question to ask, though, is why should all the guys put in the work for a female that could ruin his life? Like, why? There's no point to. Now, I do want to read this sidebar just a little bit. How to be the man that women really want. Kezia, this 38-year-old, divorced, mother of 1, shares her top tips for getting a date. So look up from your phone. Parks, coffee shops, art galleries, shopping malls, and tourist spots are great locations, great places, great locations to meet women. So keep looking up, away from your phone. The more you look up, the more opportunities you'll see. But like I said earlier, the problem isn't that men don't know where to find women. There are a lot of women around. The problem is the power that women hold, whether they know it or not, that can destroy a man's life. So be interesting. Show women you have something to offer, because you should give, no matter what. That's what a lot of people forget. What are you bringing to the table? Are you asking her an interesting question? Are you charismatic? Or are you just going there to be boring, asking her, can I buy you a drink? Can I take you out? That's not having an interaction. Remember that an interaction is essentially an exchange of ideas. You can't just go up to a woman and start questioning her. That adds too much pressure. And you know what? This is incredibly important to remember. Women want to use you. That's it. They want to take from you and offer you nothing in return if they can get away with it. They want to be entertained without any effort. And always go for the number. A lot of guys do well, and then they're like, oh, I don't want to ask for the number and screw it up. I'd rather not face rejection. Or they ask for a number at the worst possible moment when the conversation has fizzled out. Get to the highest point of the conversation and then break away. Always leave your audience wanting more. Which is, okay, whatever. Don't use generic compliments. Don't be afraid to compliment, but remember, women don't want to feel idolized. They want to feel special. They want to feel. Special means that you're going to give her a compliment which is bespoke and tailor-made for her, not something she might suspect you'll use on someone else 5 minutes later. You can only really do that if you're listening to someone and you're really looking at them and being genuine. You could qualify or validate them with something like, what I like about you is the fact that you really speak your mind, rather than a throwaway compliment like you really have beautiful eyes. Even that other compliment here, it sounds a little bit generic. But remember, women want to feel. Sure, they want to be complimented, and they want to be idolized, but really only by the most attractive guys. A compliment means nothing if the woman doesn't find the guy attractive. If anything, that could appear to be creepy from an unattractive fella. So, get a date booked in. Nobody wants to date someone with an abundance of time on their hands. It's unattractive and makes people more likely to flake on you. Don't ask her when she's free, tell her the dates you're free to pick from, and stick to them. No, this is not necessarily bad advice. It's good to at least appear busy. If you have too much time, then the female will think you're too available and become unattractive. Or you are unattractive. Ditch finding and looking from your vocabulary. If a woman wants to know your location or your situation, don't say you're looking for a girlfriend, as it comes across as needy. Tell them you can see yourself getting married and settling down one day, but it has got to be with the right person who's got similar values to you. Quite interesting that women want you to remove finding and looking from your vocabulary. I understand the sentiment, but we could turn this right around for women, especially if they're divorced, or especially if they're single mothers. I would add for females that they need to remove the term settling when looking for a relationship, especially when they're older. Now, finally, offer. Only offer to pay if you want to. A lot of men spoiling the woman, so I say to them, you do you, and be unapologetic for it. That is attractive. I think it's very polite for a woman to offer to pay. Personally, Kezia wouldn't, but I might offer to pay for a round of drinks. Men have always said it's a nice gesture when a woman offers, but of course she doesn't really want to offer. Apologizing when you don't need to, it's kind of unattractive. However, Kezia still wants men to pay for women. She likes it if men pay for everything. She even admits here that she wouldn't want to pay for a date. She might pay for drinks, maybe, but that's it. Basically, though, to sum up this entire article, is this. Why should men invest in women when they can potentially ruin a man's life? Especially with all the work involved of even trying to be attractive to a female. I'm not saying men should be slobs. I'm not saying men shouldn't push themselves to be better and become more attractive. But look at the reward at the end. It's not worth the possibility of sex or a supposed partner that really doesn't care about you. Like I said earlier, they just want to use you. They say that they'll pay for you on dates. They're not going to. They really don't care. They want to use you. They want to see what type of lifestyle you could potentially offer to them. And right now, there's really no incentive for men to involve themselves with women. There's only really consequences and negative consequences. But finally, this divorced single mother, I have to say, charges way too much for basically a pickup program. Don't waste money on things like this. That's insane. But anyways, thank you very much for watching. I'm Brazen Eagle, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.